No calls upon the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Bellaracas, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for allowing me to sit on the committee. And then also, I want to congratulate you on the Astros' victory. They are a model. They really accomplished quite a bit this year, and I like the way they rebuilt their team. So anyway, can I have an extra 2 minutes because of that?
As long as you want to talk like that,
so
you can have 10 minutes.
All right, but I'm going to root for another team next year. You know that. But in any case, I wanted to talk about Miss Walker, if I can ask you a couple questions. I understand that there is a site prioritization when utilities are being restored, and in the midst of a response, resources are often spread thin. If there are two hospitals, this is a question, if there are two hospitals in a given area, how do utilities determine which facility is responded to first?
Well, in Texas, the hospitals by statute are required to have backup generation, so they do have that requirement. I'm not sure how they are decided which one they respond to first. I know that for CenterPoint Energy during Hurricane Ike, that was the first areas that the company went to, was to the hospitals, so that all of the personnel were trying to restore service to those. So I'm not for sure, and I would have to look into how they would decide between two.
Thank you. What role do utility companies play in crafting a state's disaster response plan and determining which sites are prioritized? That's important.
They have complete power to come up with their plan on how to restore power. We do have, but the commission does have levels that we ask them to look at, which are the critical structures such as hospitals. By statute, they also nursing homes. We clearly have them respond to refineries and things in the ship channel. So there is a tier, but the utilities are responsible for setting their own priorities.
Okay, thank you. How much flexibility does a utility company have in determining which sites are restored first?
They have a lot in Texas.
Okay.
They do work, in Texas, recovery is at the local level, so they do work also with their counties and their cities to make those determinations, but the utilities in Texas have a significant amount of determination on how they restore power.
Thank you. Next question to the panel. What challenges still exist for Florida, and what are your post-storm recommendations? What are DOE resources available to communities like mine impacted by Irma? Who would like to begin first?
I'll start. Florida had a very effective restoration process. They had the arrangements from a mutual assistance point of view. They looked at, and their investments in the infrastructure has helped with hardening their systems. Their advanced control and metering has advanced their capabilities. At this stage in the game, Florida really looked at their codes and standards, and from a perspective of a Category 3 hurricane, as we're looking at Category 4 hurricanes and additional hurricanes, I think now it comes down to what are some of the additional new capabilities to mitigate a Category 4 and higher level hurricanes that they're going to have to consider. I think from a fuel distribution point of view, that was the one area of looking at distributing fuel. Gasoline was a challenge in Florida, but I think it was also partly that the necessary evacuation that occurred had a run-on on gasoline stations, and so it looks at, they did advance by having generation hookup, so from an electrical point of view, they advanced capabilities there. But if I had one area, it's probably look at the distribution network with respect to gasoline.
The fuel issue, yeah, definitely. We were very fortunate in the Tampa Bay area, I think, as you know, to dodge the Category 3 or 4. but God forbid we have one. So, anyone else want to comment? I don't have much time. I know I asked for additional couple, but I was just kidding. But does anyone else want to comment on that? Any suggestions? That's great input. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Gentleman's always welcome here. He yields back. The chair now calls upon the man who is working very hard for a bipartisan agreement to be